Hello, 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 beautiful people. It is great to be back with you. I am looking forward to this series that we're going to embark upon. So, welcome, welcome, welcome for everybody who is joining me live. I appreciate you being here. If this is your first time, then absolutely welcome. I look forward to being able to connect with you and welcome you to be a member of the Gems for the Journey community. And if you've been riding with me for a while, if you're an OG, and you've been on this train with us, I really do appreciate you making time to join us live. And last but not least, if you are listening to this on the replay, I love that for you. And I also love that for me. The replay has been doing some amazing things and it's given us an opportunity just to really expand the work and make sure that the right people are getting to be able to be connected to this content and the work that we're doing here at Career Gems for the Journey. So it's the highest compliment in my mind that someone would share the link with you or share the live with you or the YouTube channel link, because it says a lot about not only do they think the content is valuable, but they want to make sure that you're getting it. So if somebody shouted you out and did that for you, please go and thank them and then return the favor. We really would really appreciate if you make sure you distribute far and wide so that we can reach the right people, the right audiences. We think that great people know great people, and we're going to continue to believe that. So as you share with other people, we will all benefit from being parts of better communities. So, or more enriched communities. So I told you guys last week that you were going to see some changes. And this is the first week that we're starting out on those changes. So if you are with me live, you still have the opportunity to drop your city in the chat. I would love to hear from you. We are streaming live on LinkedIn as well as live on YouTube. So please do drop your city in the chat. We'll be able to acknowledge, see who's with us, see who's riding with us. And it'll give us a chance to jump right into the content. And then I'll just double check in the comment section to see who's here with us live. So when I mentioned last week that you were going to see some changes, the intention for the changes is really to make sure that the evolution that you see still allows us to have a really valuable content experience and you feel enriched after joining us live. We also are being really mindful of our time and how much time we spend together, knowing that your time is really precious and valuable. So we want to make sure that all of our interactions feel really valuable, feel like a good use of your time, and are jam-packed with gems. So we're going to try a format that's a little bit shorter. So I'll be with you for about 15 to 20 minutes, shorter than the way we have normally been. But I am sincerely of the mindset that the richer the content and the richer the experience, the better. So let's get right into it. So the last time that we did a full live, we were talking about, are you afraid to talk about your experiences and what you do well? And that starts from, do you hate networking, or are you afraid to talk about your experiences or what you do well? Or have you not gotten comfortable talking about your experiences and what you do well? And the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because I hear often, and we've probably all heard, that your network is your net worth, or it's not what you know, it's who you know. So we've heard all of these one-liners, all of these euphemisms, or all of these things that now we see as cliches. But I don't see a lot of people teaching us how to do networking right in a way that feels rich, in a way that feels like it's going to be mutually beneficial, certainly not in a way that feels like you can then tap into the network because you've done the work. So I wanted to make sure that we talked about, do you hate networking, or is it that you haven't learned how to tell your story and talk about yourself in a way that feels comfortable for you? So there's some psychology to it, right? The psychology to it oftentimes is we are uncomfortable being around new groups of people. I can say that about myself. I can say that about a number of my clients. It doesn't always feel good being in new rooms or new groups of people because we're just not sure what their exchange or what their vibe is going to be. And that's normal. So the question is, how do you overcome that initial discomfort? And I think this idea of that initial discomfort also comes from a place of thinking that networking feels very forced. It feels very inauthentic. It feels like it's something that you have to be pushed into, or it only is something that people do when they're trying to give a used cars salesman kind of feel. That none of us want to feel that way. So when we reframe networking as the network is your net worth, or the next person that you connect with could be just this individual that could transform your life, which is some things that I've talked about before and people that I've met with at conferences and been able to collaborate with and just build really great parts of our business together because now we have each other as a resource. There is this really clear value exchange opportunity when you're networking well, but you got to get past that networking part first. So I like to tell you what's in it for you. What's in it for you is this individual that you are networking with or building community with could exactly be the individual that you've been looking for to take you to the next step in your career, business, personal, professional life. I love Issa Rae. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm an Issa Rae stan. And Issa Rae talks about not just focusing on networking up to be able to bring in, new, more senior people, but also networking across and thinking about your peers as people who could be collaborators or people who could be, cross-functional partners. So the idea that networking feels like it's going to be something that is not only mutually beneficial, but there's a real value exchange because you recognize somebody else's greatness and they recognize yours. And then there is a magic that can happen between you. So as I think about really doing the work for me personally and how I redefine networking is if I am looking for something, if I've set a goal, if I've set an objective, if I've set something that I want to be able to accomplish, my prayer is for God to send me the people that I am supposed to meet in order to have this thing happen. So now I have taken it out of my own individual hands and I've literally given it over to God. So when I do that, then I have to be open to the people that God sends me. But it doesn't mean that doesn't mean that God is going to send me people I already know, people I'm already connected to. It means there are going to be new people who are going to be added to my life or people who are currently in my life that are going to play a new role. But that requires me to network. So I'll tell you a quick story and it'll help just to illustrate why I think it's so important to really redefine networking as building those meaningful connections and allowing your desires, your career, your prayers, your visions for yourself to be realized through connecting to new people. And that's the way I see networking is my dreams, my desires being realized through new connections, new relationships. And those are my peers who are on the who are on the horizontal, right? Where we're able to just work together and collab, but also people who are in the vertical, people who are more senior than me and more experienced. But I treat it as an exercise of if I want to realize that next great thing in my life, I need to add new people and new skill sets, new competencies into my network in order to fully realize everything that I desire for myself, for my career, and for my business. So when I reframe networking as a meaningful connection building, a meaningful exchange that is going to accelerate the vision that I have for myself, I can kind of get over that initial ick feeling of, okay, there's new people in the room and I don't know how this is going to go. I feel a little bit uncomfortable because now I think of them as people who are maybe sent to me as the potential to really transform my life, my business, my health, all of the things that I have set really intentional goals for. So I think about just authentic conversation starters that feel really impactful to me. So the last time we got together, we talked about conferences specifically and thinking about using conferences as a catalyst to be able to connect with people because at least you're like-minded, you're in the same room, so you have a similar set of interests. But using your curiosity to make those connections is how you put it all together. So I thought about conversation starters, and I think one of the ones I threw out was, what brings you to the conference, right? Why are you here? It gives the other person a chance to kind of speak to, maybe it's just logistically how it ended up happening for them, how their organization supported them, how they came to the conclusion that this conference is somewhere that they needed to be. And it gives you a chance to have a sincere exchange. So I think about those kind of conversation starters that require a little bit of effort on your part to go into a room full of people that you don't already know to begin to network, but leading with a sincere curiosity that gives you a chance to have a conversation that feels a little bit more surface, a little bit more than how's the weather and, how about this winter or spring that we're having. It gives you a chance to do something that feels a little bit more substantive. So I love to say, what brings you here today? I love to say, is there somebody specific that you were inspired by that brought you to this location? Is there somebody that you were hoping to meet? Or is there a audacious goal or something exciting that you're working on that makes this conference a place that you thought was a good place for you to be? All of those things are obviously questions that I've asked myself, right? Why am I in the room? And then it gives me a chance to then answer the question. But it really gives other people a chance to be disarmed, right? Kind of takes down the formality sometimes of the conversation and makes it feel like it's not going to be this kind of redundant, boring, dull, kind of networking conversation. And it gives folks a chance to really talk about something that's important to them. So you're leading with curiosity. You sincerely want to know more about why this person is in the room, and you want to get to know more about them. And then they have a chance to share something that's worthwhile and meaningful for them. That's how you transition networking from a ick experience to maybe a meaningful connection building and exchange. Every conversation is not going to be a home run. Everyone is not going to be the person that you're, destined to meet at that event. Some people are just going to be people you ran into, right? Happenstance kind of exchanges, but some people may be more. And that's the work that we have to do. We have to get past the individuals who are just circumstantial, or maybe you don't fully realize that there's something great in that first conversation, in order to get to folks who are going to be connected to you for a real purpose. So think about those conversation starters. So first, really redefine networking as meaningful connection building that you can do across as well as vertically. And then lead with your own curiosity for the other person and where their interests may be, and try to learn a little bit more about them to see if there's more to the relationship potential. And then the last one is to think about those conversation starters. Think about 3 things that you actually would care about that could drive a conversation forward, and questions that you're willing to answer in exchange, so that you have a chance to really dig in and build that meaningful connection with folks. And I'll tell you a quick story that helps just to put an exclamation point on this. One of my clients is invited for the first time to the national sales meeting, right? They don't work in the sales organization specifically, but they're a support partner to sales. Now, I've never worked in sales, but I have heard that national sales meetings can be huge, massive events for organizations. It's where entire sales forces for a company get together, and it's normally somewhere warm, it's normally somewhere beautiful, it's normally lots of food and drinks and networking and connection opportunities that are happening that only happen at the national sales meeting, because oftentimes you're not going to get this group of people in the same place otherwise, because they support regions all over the world, or there's not another justifiable reason to have them all in the same place. So this national sales meeting was a big deal for my client. And the fact that they got invited is a sign that the sales organization sees them as a valuable partner. So as my client, as he's thinking about, all right, I want to go in there and I want to be able to make the right impressions, and I want to be able to build my network here because I think there's something viable. What do I need to do to be able to make it worthwhile? So the research that we did, and we took the time to say, who are the individuals that you really want to connect with at the national sales meeting? Who are your peers, or who are potentially one level above? Who are those people? And how do you make sure that you set up time with them beforehand? Or how do you make sure that you take advantage of an opportunity to see them while you're there? So his goal and objective was really to focus on FaceTime with a few targeted individuals that he knew was going to be at that event. And then when you have that list of a few targeted individuals, then he could say, here are the projects that I know that they're working on. Here are the priorities that I've heard are theirs. And how do I make sure that I am learning something about their projects and their priorities, as well as talking to them about the work that I've done and how I may be able to contribute to those projects and priorities for the other person. So he went into it, one, with a sincere, effort and intention to connect with a short list of individuals, not to talk to thousands of people, but to talk to 7 or 8 people. And then did the pre-work and research to say, what are they working on? What are their priorities? And do I want to participate? How can I contribute to that in some way? That gave him a chance to have conversation starters that felt really sincere, very authentic to the way that that organization and their culture and their priorities were flowing. But it also gave him a chance to avoid the kind of fake networking that he felt like was distracting for him or not his strong suit. So it didn't require you to just kind of smile and do small talk for hours to stay in the room. It gave you a chance to say, I'm going to be strategic about who I approach, where they are, and I have 7 or 8 people, not like it's just one. So over the course of many minutes, I'll be able to talk to 7 or 8 people. Now, that might be over the course of 1 or 2 days, maybe even 3 days across the sales meeting. So I think examples like this, big sales meetings or large corporate events where you're going to have folks who are in the room that you may not otherwise have been connected to, and you're looking to network, you're looking to grow and learn more. This gave him an opportunity to, one, have a really clear strategy of who he wanted to meet, but also to do some pre-work and thinking about conversation starters and lead with his own curiosity. And then it allowed him to tell a little bit more about his story and the work that he had done, which allowed that conversation to continue to flow and feel like it was a mutually beneficial exchange, and both are learning about one another. And then this translates into some valuable business relationship that goes forward in the future. So these kinds of examples are reasons why learning how to network and learning how to demystify or to fix the things that people hate about networking. If you can fix those things, then you can benefit from being really good at it and adding people to your network at all kinds of events, conferences, sales events, whatever it is, large meetings in your organization, even at events at universities or alumni associations. Once you get good at it, the idea of moving from an awkward must-do connection through networking to a more authentic, I don't hate it because there's something that both of us are going to be able to get out of it, and thinking about networking as the chance for you to meet someone who is going to take your business, personal, professional life to the next level, really does take down our guard, and it allows us to disarm people because we're intentional and being curious, which allows conversations just to flow and feel more comfortable and less kind of contrived and just boring. So we're going to continue to talk about how do we move from awkward to authentic in our networking experience. And we're going to continue to make sure we give really helpful, impactful takeaways for you to add to your toolkit so that your next opportunity to network looks like an opportunity for you to add people to your orbit that are going to really accelerate your dreams, your passions, and your goals. So if you're willing to be down for that and you want to ride with us, I would love for you to continue to ride with us on this series as we talk about do you hate networking, or are you uncomfortable talking about your accomplishments, and how do we do that strategically? We're going to fix your disdain or your dislike for networking little by little over time through these gems. So looking forward to being able to be with you here. And I will see you next Tuesday as we dig a little bit deeper. And I'll tell you what we're going to talk about next Tuesday. We're going to go a little bit further and talk about, is there an exercise or a confidence play to your networking strategy? Is there something more that you desire in your own confidence so that you can feel like networking is something that goes hand in hand with you feeling more confident and feels a little bit easier? So we're going to unlock some of the gems around confidence that helps us to navigate networking and feel really good about it and can transition your experience. So until then, I appreciate you for riding with me. Make your journey work for you. And I will see you next Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, make your journey work for you.